We have a call to order of the Bartlett Economic Development Commission meeting for March 13th, 2017. Do we have a roll call?
Jared Cabasso.
Here.
Celia Green. Donna Weir.
Here.
Robert Perry.
Here.
Ann Goodenough. Here. Joe Laporte. Russell Martino. Nan Matha. And Tracy Smadilla. We do have a quorum.
Okay.
Before I even start, I'm going to mention Celia Green is joining us.
Oh, there's. I'll put you down as present.
Next item on the agenda would be the approval of the February 13th, 2017 meeting minutes. Do we have any discussion on the minutes, or do we have a motion to approve?
No discussion. I motion to approve.
Okay. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item on the agenda would be introduction of new members. Tony, Jim, you want to handle that?
Yeah, thank you. We're pleased to have two new members of the Economic Development Commission with us tonight.
That's where I got mine.
And it's my first time meeting both of them just a few minutes ago. So alphabetically, we're going to introduce them and then ask each one of them to tell the commission a little bit about themselves and maybe how long you've been in Bartlett and what type of business you're involved with. So let's start with Joseph Laporte here. Thank you.
To big corporations. So business-to-business selling for about 25 years.
Thank you.
Welcome to the commission.
Welcome,
And
Joe.
And then we have joining us Russell Martino as well, sitting to his right, and going to ask you also to make sure the microphone's on and speak into it.
Okay. I've been living in Bartlett for 25, 26 years. Previously, my family used to own property on Lake Street next to Cadillac Ranch for probably 60, 70 years. So I used to be out here when I was young. We had a farm out there. Currently, I'm a senior project manager for Mead Electric, principally doing data centers, just starting the Northwestern basketball facility, a lot of commercial projects, larger projects. Typically, I'm doing anywhere from 20 to 50 million a year electrical projects. And I've been with Mead a year. Before that, Continental was 24 years. So I lead a team, and they just brought me in there to get the commercial division going. So that's where I'm at right now.
Welcome.
Welcome to the commission. And
Welcome, Russell. Welcome.
did you get introduced to everybody? Or?
Hey, we met everybody when they walked in. I know Donna from the bank.
Donna, Robert, I'm Jerry, and Cecilia's back over there hiding.
Back to Bartlett.
Okay. Next item on the agenda would be the Chamber of Commerce update.
Thank you. I want to, for the new members, Nan Gutenkauf is with the Bartlett Chamber of Commerce. I think I'm going to ask you what your exact title is there, whether it's president or director.
President.
Yeah.
CEO, yes.
And by the statute that originally created the Economic Development Commission, the Chamber of Commerce automatically has a representative on the EDC. The EDC is comprised of 9 total members, and one of the 9 is automatically a representative from the Chamber of Commerce. So the Chamber is allowed to decide who's going to be their current representative. So we're very glad to have her with us for the last 6 or so months, I would say. So with that, I'm going to actually turn it over to Nan to update the EDC. From time to time, the village attends the chamber meetings, and we provide the Chamber of Commerce with an update of what is going on at the village level. And this time we're turning that around, and we're going to ask Nan to describe some of the initiatives and events that are going on with the Chamber of Commerce.
Okay. I'm here. Oh, okay. Been through a lot of changes in the last 2 years with the chamber. Both Mary and I are new to the chamber, well, 2 years now, but made some changes, but things are going well. We're at right around 300 members. Another big change that we have is we've absorbed the Hanover Park Chamber, so we now have 2 chambers in one. We are moving Monday to the BMO Harris Bank right across the street. So that's quite an adventure for us. We're finding all kinds of things that we didn't know we had. We are an active chamber. We host casino nights and lots of luncheons and after hours, before hours. We have a golf outing on June 22nd, which we're really starting to get into, and have a lot of fun ideas planned for that. So hopefully we'll see some or all of you there. Unfortunately, I forgot to bring my upcoming events, but you can always go on our chamber site, bartlettareachamber.com, and always see what's up and coming. I know we have a luncheon this week, and we have a speaker next week, so a lot going on. We're currently kind of switching gears and trying to work on the big businesses in town, so we're looking forward to seeing what we could do for them. And we enjoy working with the EDC. As Tony said, we had somebody else coming for a while, and now it's me, and I enjoy that, and I got to go on a visit with you, and I liked that. So thank you for having us. And I don't know if anybody wants a book. I brought a few books. I packed the rest of them. I don't know where they are. But, yeah, these are the directories that we have, so if you want to.
End up joint meetings.
ones, Nan?
Yes,
You have more?
they're packed. I'll have to bring them next month.
Have to get some more printed up.
They packed them, so I'll bring some next month.
Can we pick them up somewhere, or?
Give me a week.
Okay.
Everything is packed,
Right.
and it will be moved on Monday, so, and then we'll have to find the box they're in, so, yeah. Or we can drop them off to you, too. But all of our members are listed in there twice, once alphabetically and once according to their service. But every day we get new members, so it's kind of hard to keep it up to date, but we try.
Sorry, I heard that you're moving, but I didn't get where you were moving.
Right across the street to the BMO Harris Bank, the lower level.
Evo Harris, okay.
I remember the chamber used to be there years ago.
That is correct.
Yeah,
That is
I
correct.
remember that. Well, that's a nice location.
Yeah, they just finished painting it for us, so, yeah, we're looking forward to it.
Good.
Thank you very much for the update. The village has had a very long and close relationship with the chamber, so we're always glad to hear what's going on with them and that they're moving a little bit closer to our village.
We're neighbors now.
Yeah. Thank you.
Have any other further discussion on the Chamber of Commerce update? Okay. Move on to the next agenda item would be the Brewster Creek Business Park update.
Thank you, Jerry. I'm particularly pleased to describe this to our new members of the commission tonight because we do talk about all different areas of the village in terms of development. We spend quite a lot of time, maybe even a majority of our time, talking about the downtown business district, but we also address all the commercial and industrial areas in the village. So I'm always happy to talk about Brewster Creek Business Park. And the reason this is on the agenda this month, is a lot of this information was just recently updated. It's still pretty early in the year, and staff spent, including myself, spent a bit of time on this, updating the maps for the park and the list of the businesses that are currently in there. And one thing that I told you I would have updated this month is the Brewster Creek Business Park section of the village website. If you didn't get a chance to pick it up, I just printed it out. It's on the corner in front of Commissioner Laporte. And that's just printed out earlier today from the village website. That particular page hadn't been updated for a couple of years. A lot of times, as staff, as Jim can attest, we're very busy working on just the day-to-day projects and the problems that come up. And sometimes the website hasn't been updated for, like I said, about 2 years now. So, and as you all know, there's been a lot of projects of late in Brewster Creek Business Park. Last time we did the business list, there were about 70 businesses and 75 businesses, and now it's up to 90. There's 39 buildings. I want to tell you, out of the calls I get and the inquiries, quite a few of them are about Brewster Creek Business Park, for whatever question it may be. A lot of times it's from brokers and people that I coin as site selectors or coin themselves as site selectors. A lot of businesses directly contact me without the aid of a broker, inquiring about space in the park. And then there's all kinds of other inquiries, people who just want to do business with businesses out there, a lot of investors who want to invest in properties there. There have been quite a bit of institutional investors and developers interested in it in the last couple of years. So the down and dirty of it for tonight's report on it is the section has been updated. There's about 90 businesses there now, within 39 businesses. I'm going to go over the map a little bit, but as I always say, the reason the number of businesses more than doubles the amount of buildings is due to the condominium buildings that are out there. Staff completed, I completed a field inspection of the businesses about 3 weeks ago to update the list. It's now posted on the Brewster Creek webpage. Also, there's 2 additional buildings under construction, and there's a third that has been recently completed that I was telling the commission about a couple of months ago. Also, a long-time building that's been there, probably about 10 years, the Dania Furniture originally built. The long story short with them is they have vacated that building, and they had some issues and some struggles over the years, and they vacated that building. And that's one of the larger buildings in the business park and the whole village for that. It's kind of in the back. You wouldn't see it. You have to drive past Greco and some of the bigger buildings to get back there. But it's 300,000 square feet. It's at 1340 Brewster Creek Boulevard. So if you go past the staff memo, what I have here is just the text that I had put on the website. Again, you can see it printed in more colorful form up there, or look it up on the website later on. Talk a little bit about the food cluster for the benefit of the newer commissioners. Again, we've talked about the food cluster a bit. We have a lot of the larger food businesses in the Chicago market are located there, including Greco, Rana, Cheese Merchants, Get Fresh Produce. Talk a little bit about the German high-tech precision cluster. I haven't spoken about that a whole lot at the EDC, but we have now 4 very well-renowned German-based high-tech precision-type businesses out there, headquartered in Germany. And a couple of them have been there for a very long time, 10 years or more, and those 2 are Herman Ultrasonics and Wittenstein. Newer ones include Bremskirl. They're a brake manufacturer. They've been there for about 2 years. And then the most recent one called BBS Automation just came in town maybe 6 months ago. I've started attending some German-American Chamber of Commerce meetings, or I should say I've done one, but I intend on going to a few others. So, and those businesses are actually fairly prominent members of them, so they know those businesses pretty well. Talk a little bit about the automotive cluster there. We have a couple of companies in the auto components supply chain. A strong workforce, that's something Jim suggested I add some language to that about the workforce in the Bartlett area. And for the Chamber of Commerce purposes, I'll say instead of just Bartlett, it's really the Bartlett area. Bartlett, Hanover Park, Streamwood, Elgin. We have a strong workforce out there. Talk a little bit about the businesses open to the public, because there are businesses out there that are seeking people to come in, whether it's boarding their pet or learning self-defense. There's some businesses there that aren't just business to business. As I mentioned, I updated the list and talked and put a link to myself and some new buildings actually on there. We have the buildings that I mentioned. So if you continue flipping quickly through the pages, you'll see the list. The next few pages are the list of all the businesses that I alluded to in the business park. Starting from number 2, Second Dimensions and Abrasive West, all the way through Extreme Training Academy. If you flip through the businesses there. What I have after that, what I attached, because I linked to these on the village website. Again, this was important, updating our website. Years ago, there were a lot of speculative buildings. The long story short, again, is some of the speculative buildings were finished at horrible times, 2008, 2009. Some of them sat empty for 2 years, 3 years. At least one was foreclosed on. And so here we are again in 2017 with speculative buildings. So one of them, this first one you see, is the biggest building in the village. They've broken ground. It's going to be 421,000 square feet. It's many millions of dollars in this project. I should say tens of millions. And it's something that we want filled. There have been some inquiries actually already. I've said this a lot, too, over the years at the EDC. These very large buildings are in high demand in this market. Some of the smaller units or in-between ones actually are harder to market sometimes than these 400,000s. So there's that building. That's by Exeter Property Group. That's one of those institutional investor and developers I was telling you about. The next one you see on Schifferl is a 271,000 square foot building, and half has been leased and occupied already by another brake manufacturer, Winhere Brakes. So there's 135,000 left. Next building I listed there is the one I alluded to, the Dania Furniture Building. Just came on the market about the last month, 300,000 square feet. And then last but certainly not least, another building on Brewster Creek Boulevard, 167,000 square feet. So for those of you who aren't as familiar with Brewster Creek Business Park, and perhaps for our newer members, that's a heck of a lot of construction. It's almost 1 million square feet of space. I was asked last week how much space is available in Brewster Creek by a site selection person. It was over 1 million square feet. It was like 1.5 million square feet. But, I had to tell the person, well, 800,000 square feet of that is brand new construction. Some of it's not even ready yet. So I have this map that I've included here. I hope you've had a little chance to look at it. But you can see when you come off of Munger Road, you hang a right on Humbrock Circle, you see these are mostly these condominium buildings that I told you about. Some of them have 8 units in them. There's one of them with 4 units on Hart Circle, but those are kind of larger units. Those are each 15,000 square feet. If you go way up into the northwest corner of the business park, out by where Greco and Rana are located, there's that 1540 hect. Some of you know that. That's where like Bark Avenue is. Robert Perry had some condominium units listed there before. So that's another one of these condominium buildings. And if you look kind of at the very top and middle of it, that's that Dania furniture building that I was telling you about. It's 300,000 square feet. It was built in the time when all the furniture retailers were expanding, including Dania Furniture. And now obviously they're closing retail stores. They're not expanding anymore. They're contracting for sure. So this is the map as it currently stands. And I know I just went over a lot of information real quickly about Brewster Creek Business Park, but now Jim and I would be happy to field some questions if you have them. Yes.
Yeah, with regards to Brewster Creek, at what percentage of occupancy are we right now? So how many sites are available and how many are filled?
That's a good question. It's getting, I don't have the exact percentage, but it's in the 70% range now, maybe a little higher, 75%. There's a Cook County portion of it that's not shown on this map per se, so it might be a little bit misleading. The portion that's depicted on this map is all within DuPage County, and when it comes to the DuPage County portion, it's getting close. You can see for big buildings, this lot 9B2 is probably about it. And then if you go along Humbrock Circle to the northeast corner, we don't have it necessarily broken up by lot over there, but that's looked at as kind of smaller lot development to break up into 4, 5, 6 acre lots. So in terms of the big ones like we're talking about tonight, like 400,000, 300,000, Jim, I think there's only room for maybe one more building of that size.
We currently are reviewing a building on 9M. The building there's a building just west of the Rana on lot 7D, which is another Rana building. And then there's 12, and as where Tony pointed out, 12A, when this gets carved up, 12A is going to basically be a line that comes right off the access and kind of goes straight north, and that's all going to be taken up. And then 9N, we've talked to 9N, that's a parking lot right now, but 9N is going to probably submit next year. So the only big one left is 9B2. And then this lot 11, someday, there's a concrete plant there. The owner has his concrete plant. He's looking at moving that up into Cook County. And then that will be 25 acres that will open up. So if he's smart, he'll do it quickly.
Right, right.
We've got people, as Tony said, they call them all the time. They're looking for more space. And we'd love to put them all in Cook County, but when they hit that county line, they just stop. You know, they don't look further. But I think that as development pressure continues, you'll see that open up. And just as an aside, just as not just the buildings, but there's been a lot of internal financial and infrastructure types of movement in the business park. Just in the last, 4 months, they refinanced the whole business park with a new bond issue. They paid off their original developer notes, took out a bond issue for it was $14 million. That will take the rest of the lots, including the Cook County portion, reclaim them, because it's most of the work in the business park, and it's in a TIF district, tax increment finance district. That is for earthwork. and that the majority of it is for earthwork. So with the refinancing, we projected out with their engineering firm and with our financial consultant enough to regrade, fill, and level off all the lots, put in the additional infrastructure. The other thing we're working on now is that the villages, all the roads you see there, we're reducing their letters of credit and actually accepting all the roads, and they'll be officially in the village's system, and the letters of credit will be reduced to cover just maintenance. And the other thing we're working on is we just signed a engineering agreement with Commonwealth Edison, and to relocate Spitzer Road right now is only paved basically to the county line. And if you'll know Spitzer on the north end when you go past the fire station on West Bartlett Road, that path you see next to it is the north end of Spitzer Road. And the developer is going to build the road from basically the Commonwealth Edison right-of-way north. First, we have to get ComEd to relocate their poles. So we just signed an engineering agreement with them. We're paying for the engineering to relocate the poles, and we're paying for the difference between ComEd relocating them and keeping them on the surface, and we want them undergrounded. So that Spitzer will be built and the poles will be underground. There's 15 poles there. There hopefully will open up some of that Cook County portion of the business park that Tony spoke about, because all we have right there right now is just the fire station. But it may make it more attractive to come in there once the road's in. So all that's going on in addition to the rest of the development.
So historically, as a resident, and just reading through some of the notes, we tend to get beat up for not attracting the big box stores and the Starbucks and the whatnot. But it sounds like we did something right. Bartlett did something right. The commission did something right with this business park. Because if we're 70% occupied in a time where real estate's been crazy, I think that's a success, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. Big success.
What do you attribute the success to attracting these businesses? Because obviously it's not demographics, because that's what's beating us up from what I've read and heard in the news on the retail side of things. What have we done that's made this 70%? And is there a specific broker who's been closing a lot of deals out there, or is it, because that's somebody we'd want to be friends with?
Oh, well, yeah.
There's multiple brokers, or is it?
It's multiple brokers, and it's changed over the years. There have even been a lot of mergers within the brokerage industry where the entire park started off being brokered by Grubb and Ellis, which no longer really exists, and those brokers have been absorbed into other brokerages. But if you go out there, you see Brown Commercial has handled most of the condominium buildings. There's when you see the listings on these, like NAI Hiffman, they've been really big out there. CB Richard Ellis is the biggest brokerage I think that exists, and they've just started picking up some listings around the town. And then here's the one I was trying to remember this is the one, the result of all the mergers, Newmark, Grubb, Knight, Frank, and really the business park, I mean, Jim's been here a lot longer than I've been here, but 12 years ago it was very little known, and it was just kind of starting, and it was kind of a niche business park that only a few people knew about. And over the years here, as it's grown, it's become, Bartlett's become more of a big player in the industrial market. So I don't have all the information in tonight's packet, but the EDC's been marketing this business park forever. Print advertisements, digital advertisements, open houses, networking events. So, and also I want to add, because your original question was, why has it been successful? It's not just the marketing. It's located in DuPage County. So the taxes are more favorable on commercial and industrial real estate than in Cook. So it would be hard to characterize it, but the easiest way to characterize it is there have been companies that have moved out of older industrial areas within Cook County that have wanted to either build to suit Let's say they have a 50,000 square foot building, they've been renting for 20 years, but they want to build their own 70,000 square foot. And they've been operating with 5 docks, but they want to have 12 docks. So we've had a lot of build-to-suit companies that have moved out of the inner ring suburbs. We've had companies that have also relocated from within DuPage County from some older business parks. We've attracted a few from the Carroll Stream area, the food companies from Addison also. It tends to be expanding businesses that want to do a build-to-suit. Or in the cases of these spec buildings, the spec buildings meet, what they want. And then in some cases, more rare, it's been a huge site selection search where Bartlett starts off as one of 20 candidates for a location. Then we answer 1 million questions, Jim and I. They narrow it down to 5. They ask more questions. We've had people we've worked with for a year or more who we don't even know what the company is. And they keep narrowing down the site selection. We're doing one of those right now. Don't even know who the company is, but we keep working with their consultant. So it's hard to summarize why it's successful, but those are some of the reasons. The good workforce, the good proximity to roads. You've both been here a long time, so you know about the Stearns Road extension west. That was a huge selling point that the brokers and owners in the park were promising to businesses for about 5 or 10 years before it actually happened. I would get call after call of when is that going to happen. I would go to Jim and ask him when it's going to happen, and he would find out. We would tell them it's going to happen next year or 2 years from now, but it has happened. So it's opened up. Access to 90 isn't very difficult. To 80 is not very difficult, and now you can ship your product straight west on Stearns. So I think we could talk about the business park for hours, but those are some of the main reasons.
Tony, it's also in a TIF district.
It's within a TIF.
Yeah.
We don't necessarily offer direct TIF incentives, but the entire park is being developed via TIF financing. The village had reimbursed $30 million worth of expenses to help develop that park, to really develop the land. And then again, as Jim just mentioned, they just refinanced it, I think in October or November, to add another $14 million. So ultimately, when it's all said and done, $44 million being invested, I would say by the village, through TIF. That pays for all the roads, all the grading. First and foremost is soil and grading and filling, because it was all a gravel pit. All the roads, all the water and the sewer infrastructure, the beautiful lakes and the landscaping, the lighting. So that's what $46 million gets you, or $44 million. A gigantic gravel pit turned into a huge business park. So it's a great investment. We're very proud of it on the village side.
Are we in jeopardy of losing any of the businesses once the TIF expires? Was it 2022?
It is 2022. You can always lose businesses. I think that it's a strong core of the businesses that Tony outlined, and they're relatively new buildings. So if somebody leaves, Dania left. That was a big furniture company. We used to have Victory Land Group, which was another furniture making company. They've kind of went their way, and in the Victory Land Group building, we've got the candy wrapping and distributing company, and then in the Dania building just sold. So that's the buyer of that has got a good use for it, and I think you'll see that one, even though we lost it, fill up. You always run that risk. One of the biggest things we have going for us is I think is the food cluster. And that food cluster business really kind of, there's a network in that food distribution industry that they keep bringing people. That's how we got Rana. Rana Pasta is pretty soon going to be the largest pasta manufacturing company in America. They have just, it's amazing how much stuff if you eat at Olive Garden, you're eating Rana pasta. You go to Walmart, you go to Jewel, you can buy all the Rana pasta. They just started a packaging distribution of a pasta and sauce combination that they started out making. They had a demand for 2,000 cases. They do 10,000 cases a month. I mean, it's just skyrocketing. And they're soon to be building another building, and they wish they could find more. So, you know, what you may end up is some of these big food companies may buy other people out and say, well, we need the space. So, I mean, they've been just a success story coming here. And they're here because of Greco. They knew Greco, and Greco brought them here. The Greco company some of them, the owners lived in Bartlett. They liked Bartlett. They started here, and they just expanded. And then they brought Rana here, and then Get Fresh, and you know, just kind of spirals. They've got, and Greco has 2 buildings they're just selling. So you'll see that expand. They're going to, the Greco Cheese Merchants Company is going to be the next to Kraft Foods and the Kraft, you know, I guess you call it the dry cheese business. They're the second one in the country. Kraft is first, they're second. But they sell it under different names, different brands, but it's made right here. So same thing with Rana. Rana's all sold for Rana, but you'll see Rana's pasta placed in a lot of different food restaurants. So you eat Rana pasta more than you think. But that's how it goes. And the business, the park owner is very good towards the village. He likes the village. Their company's very involved in it. They've done this industrial park, and they did Canada over in Warrenville, so they're kind of following suit here. I wish we had more land, but we don't.
So Jim, maybe we should put a sign out there by the industrial park. We make pasta for the country.
Yeah. I think Rana would, this next building, when Rana puts up this next building, you'll see that. It's absolutely gorgeous for an industrial building. The design of it they're bringing their corporate offices here. And it's going to be another food line and refrigeration, but it's also going to have a corporate office component. And we talked to them last week and encouraged them to go to 4 stories rather than 3 stories. And it's going to have a huge mural. You know how big those buildings are? Mm-hmm. You see the big face, and they're usually just plain. It's going to have a huge mural on one side of it to make it's going to be beautiful. And
Be a
corporate executives are coming out of Oak Brook. They're relocating them here. I don't know if they all.
Will the mural be a picture of a pasta?
No, I don't. I've seen it, but it's kind of a collage. I'm sure that there's some great artists that designed it. I've just seen the rendering of it.
Well, that's a great story for the village of Bartlett. I mean,
Yeah,
we're getting to the point where that's a good ad to put somewhere where we're becoming the pasta town for the country.
In the ads that we place, we always
and almost the cheese too.
Yeah, we promote the food industry. We promote Rana. We promote the German high-tech business, which is pretty cool in itself. They're not as huge and labor-intensive, but they hire very high-tech engineers. They work on everything from like Disney rides to airplanes to fighter jets. It's all made here. The brake company, amazing what's out there.
Yeah, we're running out of land. They better get in here quick.
I wish the Cook County part was in DuPage. We'd fill that too, so, but there might be some other things we could do there.
I got a question on these open to the public businesses in the park there. They're kind of off the beaten path. How do people know they're there? Do they word of mouth or do they advertise? Or?
It's both. It's word of mouth. It's some advertising. They're destination businesses. Michelle Sarwas on Bark Avenue markets a lot through the Chamber of Commerce as well. A couple of these businesses have, like I mentioned earlier in the staff report, quite often people request that list of businesses. I probably send it out once a week to somebody, and usually it's used for solicitation purposes. And so I know a lot of people send out letters to each of the businesses there. So some of them, are marketing to the people who are already in the business park. And then others, like the Bartlett Animal Hospital is a good example. They were located at 366 Main Street for probably 25 years. And when they moved out to the business park, it's already going on 8 or 10 years out there, they brought their clientele with them. And they continue to advertise in local publications. Of course, that big search engine we all use will kick you towards them. If you're looking for Animal Hospital in Bartlett, it'll come right up. So that's just one example. So you're right. It's not like driving down Route 59 and you're going to see an exercise place. You basically have to know that it's back there. So they do their own marketing. And then a lot of it really, some of it's word of mouth. And then you've got some real good marketing people like that Extreme Training Academy there. It's all social media advertising. You see that without even asking, I get his update newsletters, I get LinkedIn, I get Twitter, Facebook. He uses all of them. So the savvy marketing people out there, they've been promoting themselves.
Seems kind of odd that those businesses would be in a business park like that.
Well, I mean,
What motivated them to move into there versus?
in general,
location?
it's similar. I worked with a lot of those businesses that moved there, and it's similar to why the industrial companies moved out there. In some cases, the businesses purchased their units where they had been previously leasing or renting for many years.
Well, we also designed the zoning that way to encourage that type of use. We didn't make it just an industrial park. We made it a mixed-use business park. And the zoning allows for commercial. If you wanted to open a restaurant in there, you could. It allows that for that kind of flexibility. The condos, there was when we first did this zoning, the village board wanted somewhere where the people who have businesses in Bartlett could move to and stay in Bartlett. So, like the smaller, like the contractor uses and those types of things. So we kind of designed the zoning and encouraged the condominium development too. So.
Right.
Did they look for other locations in Bartlett and couldn't find them, or?
No, some of them, a lot of them, they strategically did that. My next point was going to be that we looked at it in January. I know for the new commissioners, we did this very large, thorough report in January with all the economic indicators, and you can rent an industrial space for $4 or $5 per square foot. And even the cheapest commercial space in town would be maybe 12 in Bartlett Plaza or Oakfield Plaza. So, you're paying 1/3 to 1/2 the rent, and sales prices are similar. The industrial real estate isn't built as highly finished as a commercial strip center like Westgate Commons would be. It's maybe half the price. So if you have the type of business that where you're not relying on like walk-in traffic and people will seek you out, and you have the opportunity to pay either $5 a square foot rent or perhaps buy a space for $75 a square foot rather than paying $15 rent or maybe paying $150 a square foot. So if the real estate isn't the main thing, location, then you're actually better off being in one of these industrial areas. And also what we mentioned earlier, it's in DuPage County. So your tax bill on some of these units are like $2 a square foot. And in town center, it might be $8 a square foot.
We had an indoor batting cage that operated there like 10 years, baseball and basketball. And that's as commercial of a use as you can get.
In St. Charles, they have a big sports facility, different buildings similar to ours. Everything you could think of, soccer practice. I mean, it's amazing how big these buildings are and the sports that they provide in there.
For me, new kid on the block, what's the overall goal? Where do we want to be and why? Are we trying to be, do we want retail? Do we want commercial? Do we want both? Where are we going and where are we at?
Yes and yes. We want more commercial. We want more restaurants. Definitely want more retail. I think if we had when people ask me that, I said if I had a genie in a bottle and could make a wish, it would be for a big grocery store. Would probably be my first wish to get another grocery store. But, with the industrial space like we're talking about, we're more closer to built out than starting. So these big buildings we were talking about tonight, Jim and I want to sit here when it's hot outside in August and talk about how they're leased, how there's a new big food company coming in or a new manufacturing company coming in. This is a TIF district that will expire in 2022. Part of this report isn't like the equalized assessed value, but I do a report every year to the Joint Review Board on our TIFs, and the equalized assessed value of Brewster Creek Business Park started at $2 million, meaning that the assessor had all the land there was valued at plus or minus $6 million. I just got a sneak peek at the EAV for this year is over $50 million. And actually last year it was about 45. It's gone up by about 10 million in 1 year. So the equalized assessed value of Brewster Creek, who knows what it would be in 2022. We couldn't even guess. We don't know if there's going to be another recession. If it keeps expanding and there's more buildings coming, it could be 70 million, 80 million.
Or more.
Yeah, it could be more.
So Bartlett benefits on the tax dollar?
Yeah.
All the taxing districts.
All the taxing districts do, and then our town doesn't become reliant on one. Sometimes you read about these towns where one or two big employers leave, and it leaves the town kind of in a bind. The tax base is decimated. There's some towns where if one company like Dania left, that might be 10% of their tax base. But for us, it's a little blip, and we think we'll fill that space. So eventually, when it's 100% built out and the TIF's over, then we'll probably, at the EDC, talking about filling buildings. The first buildings that were built maybe will start emptying out, like we mentioned, Dania, and we'll have to continually, it'll never be 100% done is what I'm saying. There's always going to be a challenge, but the overall goal, I don't want to oversimplify it, but it's continually strengthening the economy.
If we were to build more business, wouldn't that attract retail? And are we going to get more money out of the businesses than we would retail? Like how many cash register rings do you need at a Dominic's or a Jewel or something like that to equal one Greco Foods?
They're different, but they're comparable. They just kind of fall into different categories because none of these generate, almost no retail taxes or sales come out of the business park. But what it does is it provides employment for the area, and people pay more income taxes on it. When I talk about the EAV, when the TIF ends eventually, that'll all be fully taxable to all the taxing districts. So whereas right now, let's say the library might collect $100,000, I'm just making up numbers, $100,000 a year from Brewster Creek Business Park completely combined. When the TIF ends, that might become $800,000 a year. So, you know, building up the tax base, it doesn't just employ Bartlett people, but it employs people throughout the whole area. So there's people from Bartlett and all the surrounding towns who basically are employed by some of these businesses that are over there. So it's hard to describe the benefits of that. I mean, that's one of our biggest goals with the EDC, providing new businesses and people with employment opportunities, and just a lot of different benefits, building up the tax base. I can't say this is better or worse than a sales tax producing business. It's different. We would like to build up our sales tax quite a bit. It's pretty small in the village.
When we market Bartlett for, you know, again, the big box type stores, even though I personally believe the big boxes are shrinking, you got Amazon, buy everything on Amazon. What is it that we're lacking that the big boxes want that the business parks aren't fulfilling?
It's a tough question.
So it's not just people that live here, but we also have a surge of people that come to work here every day.
Right. I mean, the daytime population is growing, but it's not nearly at the point where they would want it to be. It's not like 100,000 people per day. It's more like 10,000. We're still pushing to make 10,000 for workers within the village. And some of the things the retailers look at is the land prices. Jim and I can't tell you how much about the county issues between Cook and DuPage. So this is in DuPage, but if you drive about a mile west of here to West Bartlett Road in 59, a big undeveloped property is in Cook County. One of our TIF districts that's undeveloped is in Cook County, Lake Street and 59. So it's hard to bring a retailer to these sites. They don't want to build in Cook County. And some would tell you, if you spoke with a lot of commercial brokers like I do, the retail landscape is overbuilt as it is. There's more people closing than opening. So you're right insofar as it's going to be smaller. We've contacted all of them over the years.
Would the Cook County side be zoned for a corporate headquarters or a hospital or something like that that would bring in jobs, bring in people? I guess I'm looking at it as if you build something bigger, if you build it, they'll come. So if you can get the hospitals and the corporate America there, that's more people, more demographics. You're going to get a Starbucks. You might get a Walmart. I don't know.
The property at West Bartlett Road and Munger Road, the northwest corner actually, was owned by Central DuPage Hospital. And we, a number of years ago, courted them to build a new hospital at that location because that was what their desire was and what the village's desire was. What ended up happening is that they ended up building at the campus where they're at. What we've seen is the offshoot. You see the medical, facilities in all of our commercial areas. In fact, without saying so and not coming too public, one of our biggest retail spaces is going to be filled by another medical facility within the next couple of weeks. So we're not going to get too many of the big boxes. The big boxes that are relocating and building, expanding, you got your Fireman Fleets, you got your Myers, you got maybe Menards, but all those companies, we've talked to them, we've looked at them. We used to talk to Walmart. Walmart basically says we're not expanding at this point. We only have one really good commercial retail space available at 59 and West Bartlett Road. Property owners sitting on it. The history of Bartlett is that the property owners have always been, there's been property owners that have been very difficult. When we've had users the property that wanted to come, big box users. We were lucky to get Home Depot. We were lucky to get the Dominick's. Kohl's was looking at Bartlett. We had a corner of 59 and Lake Street where we had a 500,000 square foot retail center that was going to be built before the Great Recession started. Property owners kind of stood in the way of the land assembly. So you kind of ran through all that you always ended up with a roadblock, you know. So we're going to market our commercial spaces as good as possible. It would be great to get an office use. We've talked to numerous people about doing offices. Nobody wants to really be out in an area where they want to be on 90 or 88, the office type users. We had the hospital potential. At about the time the hospital was a potential, we said, let's invest in the industrial park. I think our future is to finish our industrial users and hopefully get more industrial land that's on West Bartlett Road and annex it into the village and redevelop it. Because there's some crap out there that we could annex and get and make nicer. And we've had initial talks. One of the problems we have is part of it is in Elgin. We've got property in Elgin that is really surrounded by Bartlett. It's underproductive in terms of what Elgin can do with it. We've talked to the owners of it, and they would like to come to Bartlett. The problem is you got to get Elgin to disconnect them so they can come to Bartlett. That may happen someday if you get enough pressure because Elgin can't service it. We have the water, the sewer. You know, right now is not a good time to talk to Elgin because we just discontinued our 30-year-old water agreement with them. So you'll see. We've out on West Bartlett in 25. We've got 125, 130 acres. We're just starting to see that develop. So you'll see some more retail out there. It's not going to be big box, but you'll see retail out there, and you'll see more industrial that's a kind of a special niche industrial because it's got the outside storage complex, and we're probably the home to the number one, the two largest traffic signal companies in Illinois are located in Bartlett. So you see their traffic signals all over the northern suburbs. So that'll continue to develop. There's probably another good 110 acres out there that you'll see more industry and some commercial there. So I think our goals are, the village has a strategic plan, which they're revising right now. They're going through that. And in those goals, we'd like to see the downtown redevelop. They might look at another TIF district in the downtown. We'll continue to develop the sites that we have available. Just got a car wash came in on 59 and Schick. We've got Bannerman's 59 and Schick. They've got a commercial entity that they want to put in like a sports bar with a Dunkin' Donuts, and we're reviewing that right now. So you'll see those sites develop. So we've got a big chunk of land that is owned by the Baptist Temple. They own a big space on Army Trail Road that'll be its own commercial. So we'll see that little bit of that corridor develop. So there's still some opportunities. It'd be great to get an office building, or I don't know if we'll ever get another hospital, but something along those lines where it's a big people generator. So.
Well, it can be done. You just look in the news, Caterpillar's moving from Peoria to Chicago. McDonald's is moving from Oak Brook. And Chicago and Cook County, so it's not like the taxes are any better.
No, they want to be near the airport.
Well, we offer transportation with the train. We're close to 90, 59, 88. I mean, we're not Chicago, we're not O'Hare, but Elgin O'Hare is going to go through. So I don't think we're the worst destination. I think we're a lot better than Naperville.
We've talked to Cat. We at least know we're interested. Now, whether they'll come here, I don't know. But another project we're working on is the Illinois 390 extension. And some people remember it as the Elgin O'Hare Expressway. Well, that's going through a revised feasibility study that is just got completed. And the towns around here between Hanover, Bartlett, Streamwood, and Elgin, we're going to request the State Department of Transportation to send it into phase one study. And funding a phase one study means that the highway in some year can become a reality. It takes about 2 or 3 years to do the design work, but it takes it off of being an idea with, that it is actually feasible to construct, and then puts it in the realm of a potential highway. I mean, Route 59 was a feasibility study before it became basically a 4-lane highway. So they're talking about that. That'll bring more people, more businesses to this area too. And we'll be poised. You'll see redevelopment. There's still property on Lake Street that we could see develop. So there's potential out there.
Thanks for that rundown, Jim. That was very insightful, and we took a lot in. I think maybe we might ask Joe, just being a resident, what would you like to see come to Bartlett?
Anything that would make my taxes go down. So I'm excited to hear about all the businesses coming and an influx of tax dollars. I'm content with what we have in the sense that everything that I need is here. I've got Starbucks, I've got O'Hare's, I've got Bannerman's. It's got American Charter or MB. So I think we're good. I would like to see some business, and I think if you brought the commercial in, I think the retail would follow. I think we've been chasing our tail, in my opinion, as a citizen, trying to go after big box stores. I get it, but I don't know that they're going to be here 20 years from now. And I think we should look at what's going to be here 10, 20, 30 years down the road. When we're long gone, but what will keep Bartlett going when we're gone?
So if I'm getting you right, more stores like shoe stores, clothing stores, things that aren't here in Bartlett.
Yeah,
Shoe stores, clothing stores.
Yeah, my wife.
Your sales tax revenue idea is right on. And two of the things that we do look at, but I don't think we do look at it enough, is trying to get a place where sells cars, where they, big ticket items where they're selling. And Lake Street would have been a good area there. And I know Jim has been having some people look at that, but that, having somebody selling Hondas or whatever down there, big ticket items, that would generate a lot of tax revenue. And so would a grocery store, a lot of tax revenue, sales tax.
We just finished that project with the Toyota dealer where we annexed a portion of his property for his repairs and part of his, unfortunately, we didn't have as much land as he needed, so most of it went to Streamwood. But working with him, the potential is there that he could bring somebody else, and we have property on the south side of Lake Street that could be, where our TIF district's at. We used to be the motorhome sales capital of the Midwest. We still have a motorhome sales guy, and we're pitching him to try to expand and see if he's interested now the economy's better. So that's a potential, but there's land up there that's in the TIF that we could use to do that. It could happen.
Okay, let's move on to the next agenda item, the National Karate Business Association. You want to bring us up to date on that, Tony?
Sure. Nan Gutenkopf and I met with the owner of National Karate back about a month ago, February 16th. If you're not familiar with this business, they've been here in Bartlett for 20 years, actually, in Devon Prospect Plaza, so just a couple blocks from here. We talked about some of the issues and challenges that he's faced, some of them having to do occasionally with issues at that particular center. Overall, he's pleased with the Bartlett location. Chris Nelson actually owns 5 locations, National Karate locations in this area, and there's another 25 in Minnesota. And actually, this one, just a few blocks away, is the top performing out of the 30. So he's very pleased with that. But for any of you who know him or have taken children there, I mean, he's worked hard at it, offering lots of classes to lots of people for lots of years over there. So the reason we met, we wanted to discuss him staying in town and how important his business is in Bartlett as the first karate and only one for a long time until another one opened just a couple years ago. And also I wanted to hear about what Krav Maga is. I had heard that it's offered over there, didn't know what it was. Nan knows what it is, so maybe she can describe it better than I can, but the one-sentence summary of it is it's hand-to-hand combat system of the Israeli Defensive Forces. The reason he described to us as offering this is because, and I will admit that I had thought of this myself, that karate lesson's kind of a thing you take your little kids to and get them the uniform, and they practice a few punches and kicks, and it's just, it's not something, there are, of course, very dedicated martial arts people who continue, but primarily it's been something that really kids have just gone to, and he wanted to expand that business to bring in more adults, and he's done that through this Krav Maga. He's a great guy. I didn't really write it like that in the report, but meeting with him, and I've met him before in a business visit years ago, and just a real positive person to have running a business in the community. And we promised to keep in touch with him and help him in his expansion plans, whatever they may be. So that was it. That was our visit to National Karate. I'm working on a few other business visits I'm looking to schedule, and I'll get in touch with commissioners when they're scheduled. We try to do benefit for the newer commissioners again. I do a lot of informal visits, probably a few a week, where a business will just call me and they'll want to meet with me or discuss something with me. But then I have these other visits where we schedule them in advance, maybe a week or two in advance, and bring a commissioner with us. So usually do about one of those per month. And that was it for National Karate. It's great business, just a couple blocks from here at Devon and Prospect.
I was most impressed with the fact that is it this year or beginning of next year, that they'll be celebrating their 20th anniversary?
Right. Right. We asked, he asked him to do something for his 20th anniversary. Whenever we do these business visits, we talk about marketing the business. That's probably the central theme of a lot of our visits, is just reintroducing it so people forget that there might be a certain business there for years. It becomes kind of a background fabric and you don't think about it that much. And we told him for his 20th anniversary this year to go big, do something. Do a 20th anniversary open house or party, or introduce to Krav Maga, just something. Because as all of us who've been in, or worked for or been in the village for a long time, quite a few businesses have come and gone in the last 20 years. And that guy's just been plugging away back there the whole time. So we told him really the village is proud of him for doing so well and being there for so long. And really he should be proud for being so successful for so many years. So, yeah, 20 years.
Has he actually been there for 20 years?
That's what he said.
It's what he did. Yeah, it's like any month now. Like this.
Blew my mind when I read that. It's like, wow.
Yeah, it's impressive.
Was that the first time we ever queried him?
I've met with him over the years. I did another visit like this probably 10 years ago. Whenever his last lease was up, he was thinking about relocating or expanding, and we met to discuss it. So I think it was probably 2007 last time I did a business visit over there. It's what happens when you're with the village for a while. You start going to the same businesses for a second or third time. So yeah, I've been there for 20 years.
Okay, next agenda item would be What's New, Tony?
Well, when you read your Bartlett letter that comes out April 1st, it's kind of like beating a dead horse because we talked about the ACE for so long, trying to get an ACE back into town. And so the ACE has opened recently. I think you probably all know that, but it's there. And then another restaurant has opened. When O'Hare's relocated to Town Center and left the former O'Hare's space available on Army Trail Road, we are now the proud home of Flappy's Pancake House, which is misleading because they have a full lunch menu, like anything you could name for lunch. They're open from 6 to 3, 7 days per week.
I was there on Sunday. They were very good.
I've been hearing good things about it, and I've been hearing that sometimes you got to wait for a half hour or more.
I'd go back.
So those are there's always new businesses in the pipeline, but those are the two that have opened recently. We have a few more kind of in the earlier stages that we're working with now, but always trying to fill those big empty spaces, especially some of them that Jim talked about, the former Dominic space being the biggest one. So that's it for new business tonight.
Anything on Tipsy Monkey, Platform 18, or Lucky Jacks? Just
One of them I'll answer, and then Jim's going to answer too, because
Two
he's
of
the
them
man
we
for
are
two
not
of them.
going to discuss because they are in various stages of legal issues. So, and I'll let you figure out which two. Let Tony ask the other one.
I've been in contact with several prospects for the former Tipsy Monkey. That's a strong, ready to move into type space, unlike the other two. And I don't want, nothing's 100% turnkey operation, but that's pretty close. And they're with a very good, to answer another one of your earlier questions, they're with a very good brokerage. I think they're with Sperry Van Ness now, and a broker that I've worked with many times on many different tenants in the town. And he has it listed, Sperry Van Ness, and they call me with various prospects, and I call them. I call the prospects, and we answer a lot of zoning questions. So I can't say exactly when that one would be filled, but I'd be surprised if it wasn't filled by the next 4 or 5 months.
And does the village, do you guys, is there a liaison at all the companies at Brewster Creek? And because if you needed to talk to one individual that would represent the company, is there somebody you can call?
Yeah, I'll find out who to call.
I'm just thinking in terms of knowing who they know. You said, Greco brought in the Rana Pasta Company. It's who they know, the circles that they run in. Can we capitalize on those relationships? Is there somebody at those facilities that we can say, hey, we've got space available, in 12F, 12A? You know anybody that's looking, that type of thing?
In Brewster Creek, it's the owner of the property. He's the main contact, and if I don't talk to him every day, it's a rare day. And he is the one who has, he brings in, they're out there marketing it, but he just knows a lot of people. And we go over potential layouts and that kind of stuff. Now, if you're talking about like in the Tipsy Monkey location, there's brokers out that's the primary group. We'll deal with CBRE, Sperry Van Ness, Jones, Lang, LaSalle, Grubb and Ellis, all those companies. So that's Abbott Land and Investments in Bartlett. They bring in users on the west end. So that's primarily who we deal with. But Brewster Creek it's the owner of the property. So.
Okay, final agenda item would be adjournment. Do we have a move to adjourn?
I have some news about one of the owners in downtown Bartlett just went through a very serious cancer operation. The owner of O'Hare's, Bill Vance.
No, I didn't know that, just saw him Friday.
Bill went through a very serious operation. Yeah, it just happened.
I think Peggy's.
Yeah, we hope he's okay. He's a good man, and we, work closely with him to help him relocate.
Yes, I helped get him into the location, and Bill has been just a great guy to work with. His wife Peggy is just a beautiful woman, and our prayers are with them.
Peggy's mother just passed away
Peggy's mother
last week.
passed away last week.
Yeah.
His biggest days of the year are coming.
Yeah, true.
They issued him a tent permit and a special amplifier permit.
That's right.
So hopefully they'll have enough people to handle that.
Yeah, they better.
Yeah. That's too bad.
Yes, I know you know Bill, so that's why I brought it up.
Thank you.
Anybody care to make a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Meeting is adjourned.